Good morning, Lemonheads. We are not Don Lemon.
As you can probably tell, we are not. And I want to apologize to everyone. I know that everyone so enjoys seeing Don every morning, but Don is dealing with a family emergency right now. So Peter and I are going to be chatting with you this morning. I hope that's okay. We love you all.
Britt F., I saw you say you were guessing 15 minutes late. We were only 2 minutes late.
Yeah.
Good job. So our hardworking president made some news over the weekend, posting a series of lovely animated or artificially intelligence-made images, announcing his intention to be both the Pope and the Dark Lord of the Sith. Because he can do 2 jobs at once. He can do 3 jobs at once. He can be president, the Pope, and the Dark Lord of the Sith. Now, Nikki, you were away this weekend, but you said the Pope image actually cut through. You had news notifications turned off.
I did.
This was still big enough.
I was, Peter's going to have to be leading me through a lot, guys. This weekend, it was my birthday weekend, so I turned off news notifications as a birthday present to myself, which was lovely. But when I was on my little birthday adventures, I heard so many people talking about the Trump Pope image, just overheard it in general. So yes, this definitely punched through.
Yeah, sacrilegious has lost all meaning as a word. Blasphemous has lost all meaning as a word. I am not a practicing Christian, so this type of image doesn't hit the same way for me that it does for, I imagine, a lot of folks. But as a huge Star Wars nerd, as a longtime loser,
hey,
this was something. Do they have no one around him who is able to tell them that the red saber is bad?
I don't think any of them have actually watched the movies.
The most iconic butcher in all of sci-fi carried around the red sword and just gutted thousands, if not millions, of aliens. And the tweet itself is interesting. For those of you just listening on Spotify, it reads, "Happy May the 4th to all, including the radical left lunatics who are fighting so hard to bring Sith Lords, murderers, drug lords, dangerous prisoners, and well-known MS-13 gang members back into our galaxy. You're not the rebellion, you're the empire. May the 4th be with you." Very strange. And not one, but 2 eagles and American flags behind him. Because, of course.
Anyone who has even cursory knowledge of the films would be able to tell you who the empire is in this situation. Just saying. So.
Yeah, I'm seeing folks in the chat asking where Don is, if Don's okay. As Nikki said at the top, Don is currently dealing with a bit of a family emergency. He's okay, but we're stepping in this morning to chat with you all, and he will be back soon.
Yes. But I'm sure he appreciates all of your prayers and kind words, so... But yes. You'll be seeing him soon.
Absolutely, and we'll pass along your messages. I know he'll appreciate it. Nikki, Trump made some news, and beyond declaring himself Pope and Dark Lord of the Sith.
That's not enough.
We're sitting down with NBC's Kristen Welker. Do we want to watch through some clips?
Yeah, let's. How else would you want to start your morning?
Andy, how about we start with Trump doubling down, talking about little girls and their 30 dolls that they're no longer going to have.
The tariffs. And I want to ask you about something you said this week. Got a lot of attention. You were at your cabinet meeting. You said, quote, I'm going to quote what you said, "Maybe the children will have 2 dolls instead of 30 dolls.
Yeah.
And maybe the 2 dolls will cost a couple of bucks more than they would normally." Are you saying that your tariffs will cause some prices to go up?
No, I think the tariffs are going to be great for us because it's going to make us rich.
But you said some dolls are going to cost more. Isn't that an acknowledgement that some prices will go up?
I don't think a beautiful baby girl that's 11 years old needs to have 30 dolls. I think they can have 3 dolls or 4 dolls. Because what we were doing with China was just unbelievable. We had a trade deficit of hundreds of billions of dollars with China.
When you say they could have 3 dolls instead of 30 dolls, are you saying Americans could see empty store shelves?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying they don't need to have 30 dolls. They can have 3. They don't need to have 250 pencils. They can have 5.
But you're basically saying there could be some supply shortages because of the
we don't have to
tariffs.
waste money on a trade deficit with China for things we don't need, for junk that we don't need.
Well,
I don't think he has any idea why he won the election.
No, I think he's so out of touch with the American public. The idea that, I mean, all right, people don't need $30. Most people weren't getting $30. Most people were lucky if they got one. And it's, I mean, to minimize this down to an issue of a doll for a Christmas present is just missing the massive issue around everything. We need food. We need supplies. We need medical supplies. This goes beyond dolls.
Just circling back to what I said a second ago, I think there were a lot of things that played into the election result. Obviously, it was the historic candidacy of Kamala Harris being both a woman and a person of color. There was all of the protests around Gaza, and then there were, in particular, global inflationary forces that surged the cost of living for everyday Americans. And I think it's really that latter issue that was the dominant decider in putting Trump back into the White House. And for him to just throw caution to the wind and pursue a trade war that will just explode the financial stability of really the entire bottom 90% of America is mind-boggling to me. He won on inflation, he won on cost of living, and now he is saying, in effect, F inflation, F cost of living. We're going to pursue this because I have a 1980s just his approach, his understanding of economics is so frozen in the 1980s when he was in Manhattan real estate competing with the Japanese to buy buildings. And it's crazy to me. It's gobsmacking.
It is. I mean, I'll slightly disagree on one point. I do think the economy was a major factor, but I think that racism and sexism played a huge role. Even subconsciously. I think a lot of people, like, even if they say they voted for him due to the economy, they decided that that was not a deal breaker. Yeah. And I think that did play a major role. But it is interesting to see how all these people that claim to have voted for him for the economy, how they're going to react now that we're going to see shelves bare. We're going to see a shortage of supplies. We're going to see inflation. We're going to see things going up. I mean, small businesses are going to go under. They're going to be unable to cope with these tariffs. And a lot of this whole idea of making American is not realistic in a lot of ways, at least not in the short term, or for smaller businesses.
Andy, can we pull up that New York Post cover that I sent? Every once in a while, the New York Post just nails it. Skimp on the Bobby. Skimp on the Bobby. It's so good. No, but Nikki, you and I were talking about this last night and again a little bit this morning. I don't know why the number 30 is seared into his brain, but he keeps talking about $30. He said it at the cabinet meeting last week. He said it obviously over the weekend with Kristen Welker, as we just saw. And so he is content with little girls who get $30 for Christmas only getting 2 or 3 or 4. Apparently what's not crossed his mind, and maybe not even the mind of Kristen Welker, because I really think this deserved a follow-up, what about the little girls who only get $1 or $2 normally for Christmas? They get nothing now, and they'll be happy about it, presumably?
I mean,
their parents will be happy about it?
I family where for Christmas it was a Goodwill toy or a hand-me-down toy, like one toy when I was younger. And the idea that, oh, well, they're not going to get $30 now. Who's getting $30? Are you that out of touch? All the people you're surrounded with, maybe.
No, I was going to say, we know who's getting $30.
Yeah,
Andy,
exactly.
Can we cycle through some of those pictures that I sent?
Oh, dear Lord.
Let's see. Granted, it's not 30 toy cars, but I see 3 toy cars there, I think.
Toy limousines. Because that's realistic.
A toy Mercedes.
Oh, my God.
Look at all those color books.
Let's focus in on how many pencils are in that cup.
Oh, yeah, that's interesting. That doesn't look like 5 pencils. It looks like a hell of a lot more than 5 pencils.
5 pencils.
And again, I want to be very clear. We're not picking on Barron in this. But we're just calling out Trump's hypocrisy in being perfectly happy to effectively carry out a policy platform identical to that of the Grinch. He's totally okay ruining the Christmas holiday for all the little boys and girls around the country. But, of course, his children and the children of all of his friends, they're not going to feel this. Not at all.
The Grinch who destroyed America.
But, Nikki and Andy, one thing I wanted to talk about, and I mused about this a bit this morning, is since April 3rd, since Liberation Day, there has, of course, been a tremendous amount of volatility in the market. In fact, up the stock market, if we have it, I believe it's down again this morning by about 150, 200 points. Now down only 71. So we've seen a lot of market instability, but only to a certain point, only to a certain extent. There's a band with which you've seen the market tumble and then recover and then tumble again over and over as Trump has mused different things. First announcing these wild tariffs, then walking some of them back, then increasing the China tariff to 145%, and reestablishing universal tariffs to 10%. There's just been a tremendous amount of chaos. But again, you haven't seen the economy really crater. It's just been like a game of ping pong, as Trump likes to say. Bing, 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 bong. It's going up and down, but it's not, we haven't seen the type of true devastation that supply chain experts are saying we should be seeing. And when I say that, what I mean to convey is that all of the supply chain experts that I'm reading assert that by mid-May, particularly the third or so week of May, all of the Chinese shipping containers that bring a tremendous degree of the goods that Americans buy on a daily basis, they're finally going to be reaching U.S. ports. And we already know that most of these containers only have 40, 50, in some cases 60% of the merchandise that they normally carry into the country. And so it's around the third week of May, the fourth week of May, that folks are going to start walking into Walmart, Costco, their local supermarket, and you're only going to see, instead of, say, the 100 goods that you would normally buy for your weekly grocery haul, only 50, only 60% of what you want to get will be available to you. And that's when things implode. And yep. I don't understand why, to riff for just one more second, Nikki, I was telling you about how I was listening to my buddy Derek Thompson on a Bulwark podcast over the weekend. And what he said is normally the stock market is actually a pretty good indicator of not the economy's health, but what the smartest people with the most accurate information think the economy's health is, granted at a moment in time. And what Thompson couldn't quite wrap his head around, and I'm not denigrating him in any way, I agree, is that all of the smartest people in the country with all of the best information available to them are acting a little laissez-faire right now. Maybe it's because they're super wealthy, so they realize that this tariff, this good implosion isn't going to hit them, but things should be a lot worse off. Things should be a lot more chaotic than they are right now. What do you think about that?
I mean, I agree with you. I've had that same confusion as to why the stock market is not reflecting what a lot of people are feeling. I mean, I do think that this is going to hit us hard towards the end of May. We're going to see supply chain issues, and then inevitably we're going to see inflation because of that. But I'm not sure. I mean, I do think that the stock market is reflecting the volatility in Trump's own policies. I think that he's often so all over the place that people may be optimistic that he'll go back on some. I mean, look at what the tariffs. He implemented tons of tariffs, and then immediately, very shortly after, was like, no, not all of those. We'll just do some of these, which still puts us in a far worse position than we were in. But I wonder if some people are expecting him to walk things back a little bit more. Mm-hmm. And I do think that while the stock market is an important indicator, people are already seeing this in a lot of places. So I mean, I know this is anecdotal, but one of my neighbors runs a business, and she's already struggling to get the goods that she needs to get here for her store.
Yeah.
And I know she's been feeling a lot of hurt, wondering like if this is going to be the end. And I'm seeing that in a lot of places. And it's while it may not be reflective in the numbers just yet, feel like we're going to be seeing this drop. Like it's going to drop out below us soon.
Yeah, Crystal Rocks in the comment says, "No, Peter, it's already happening. I had to cancel my order last night because so many things were out of stock." You're absolutely right. And I forgive me if I meant to convey that it's not already happening. Obviously, it's already happening. What I was trying to say is, shit will hit the fan come the third week of May. That's when things are going to really go off like a bomb. On that point, I was listening to another podcast with a small business owner over the weekend, and they said that given the Chinese tariffs in particular, the only way for his small business to not go under in the next month is if the ship from China sinks and he gets insurance for all the goods that he bought, because he does not have the capital to pay 145% tariff on what he said was like $60,000 worth of goods. $60,000 worth of goods that would end up having to cost almost $150,000.
Exactly. And you can't send it back. Now you're out that money too.
Nope.
So it's yeah. I mean, what did that?
Wonder,
I think we played a clip with a small business owner who said he'd be better off lighting the product on fire.
Yeah, literally. And I'm not an economist. I'm obviously not a small business owner. So I don't know what happens in a situation like that. The goods are going to arrive. Some of the goods already have arrived, and they're now sitting at American ports. What happens if you can't foot that bill? What happens if you can't pay the 145% tariff? I mean, do Chinese companies sue you? Yeah, you're right. The goods can't be sent back. I don't know what happens. But
I mean, I guess we're going to see. And what's sad is what we're going to see is a lot of people hurting a lot more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I'm not sure it's going to get better.
Well, fortunately, there are some good aspects to the economy, Nikki. There are some very good aspects. Andy, would you mind playing the clip where Trump explains, sure, there are some rocky things right now, but there are also some very good things happening in the economy?
Become the Trump economy.
It partially is right now. I think the good parts are the Trump economy and the bad parts are the Biden economy.
So for those of you who might have not caught the beginning, Kristen Welker asks, is this now the Trump economy? Are we far enough into your administration that Americans can confidently feel as though you're in control of the market fundamentals? And Trump says, well, sure. The good parts of the economy are the Trump economy, and the bad parts are the Biden economy, obviously. Of course.
If you like what you're seeing, then I did it. But if you don't like what you're seeing, then it was someone else. It was not me. This is like an answer that a 5-year-old would give.
Literally. Literally. Andy, could we play, let's see.
And to everyone in the chat that is asking where Don is, yes, we are not Don. Don is dealing with a family emergency. He will be back. We're just taking over today to give him some time to handle what he needs to.
Yes. He may be back for the 5 p.m. We're not entirely sure. So let us know in the comments, in case you do see us again later today, what you would like us to cover, because we definitely need some ideas. Nikki, I know we have the ad read in a moment. Do you want to just do that, or do you want to keep going through clips?
Yeah, we can pause for a second. So I know it's everyone's favorite part of the show, right? Where we have to tell you who is helping us keep the lights on, because we do need to keep operational. So today, the Don Lemon Show is brought to you by BetterHelp. So with everything that's going on in the news today, it is important to protect your mental health. Believe me, we feel it. And even while awareness around the issue is growing, there's still a long way to go. A recent survey found that 26% of Americans have avoided mental health support due to fear of judgment. But May is Mental Health Awareness Month, so let's encourage everyone to take care of their well-being and break that stigma. Often seeking out help can feel like a monumental task. BetterHelp is there to work with you. I know that finding the time and money for therapy can be a huge barrier. I personally have struggled with this, and actually myself, I do use BetterHelp because it is accessible, it's affordable, it makes getting help a lot easier. Their therapy is fully online, making it much more accessible for a lot of people that can't get into an office to see someone. It is convenient, and it's a lot more convenient than a lot of in-person therapy sessions. They serve over 5 million people worldwide. They have over 10 years of experience in matching people with the right therapist. They have a very diverse network of therapists, over 30,000 licensed therapists. a wide range of specialties, and you can even change your therapist very easily if you find that the connection's not there. But with BetterHelp, therapy is within reach. Your mental health is worth it. Right now, take care of yourself with today's divisive, overwhelming, and often, let's be honest, hurtful environment. Taking care of yourself has never been more important. We're all better with help. So visit betterhelp.com/DonLemon to get 10% off your first month. That is BetterHelp, HELP.com/DonLemon. And the Don Lemon Show is also brought to you today by Shopify. So when everyone's had dreams when they were young. We all wanted to be something, either an astronaut or a princess or a prince. But as you get older, your dreams will change. You focus less on running the world and more on how you can take your skills and ideas and turn them into something that is real. So maybe now some of you are starting about owning your own business. But to do that, you'll need a website, a payment system, a logo, and a way to advertise to new customers. And that can be overwhelming. It can be confusing. I can attest to that, trying to get this all set up for the Don Lemon Show. But thankfully, that's where today's sponsor, Shopify, comes in. Just like that, the origins of this podcast were once just a dream, and starting your business is a dream that a lot of us share. So you don't have to let it remain a dream. You don't have to hold yourself back if you're thinking that you don't have the skills or you don't want to do it alone. You can turn those what ifs into why nots, and Shopify is by your side. It's the commerce platform behind millions of businesses around the world, and 10% of all e-commerce in the US, from household names to brands just getting started. As our team on the Don Lemon Show here works to launch our merch, we will be working with Shopify to make this happen. So you might be thinking, what if I can't design a website? Shopify has got you. They've got beautiful, ready-to-go templates to match your brand style. You can get help with everyday tasks like enhancing product images, writing product descriptions, or generating discount codes with their AI tools that are created specifically for commerce. If you are worried that people haven't heard about your brand, Shopify will help you find your customers. They have an easy-to-run email and social media campaign. If you get stuck, Shopify is always around to help and share advice with their award-winning 24/7 customer support. So turn those dreams into... sign up for your $1 per month trial and start selling today at shopify.com/lemon. Go to shopify.com/lemon. That is shopify.com/LEMON lemon. And turn your dreams into... Love it. Love it.
Nikki is a natural. Yes, she is. East Coast transplant. Yes, she is. Linda Ross, Peter, ring the bell. I'm afraid I actually don't have the power to ring the bell. That is Andy's domain. Andy controls.
I can steal
Nikki
it from
can
Andy, but I'm not going to. That's Andy's thing.
I'm seeing some folks ask where Don is. Don is obviously not on the show today. I'm not Don. Nikki's not Don. He is dealing with a family emergency right now. He is okay, but he's got some stuff going on, and when we know more, we will tell you. We are not sure if he'll be back for the 5 p.m. We're hoping he will be, but he knows that you guys love him and you're praying for him, and we'll give you an update when we have it. So Nikki, when Trump was not talking about Joe Biden's economy with Kristen Welker, he was also musing about starting a new war. So much for the pro-peace candidate. Andy, can we play that clip?
And I asked you if you would rule out military force to take Greenland, and you said no, you don't rule out anything. Would you rule out military force to take Canada?
Well, I think we're not going to ever get to that point. It could happen. Something could happen with Greenland. I'll be honest. We need that for national and international security.
But not with
I think
Canada?
It's highly unlikely. I don't see it with Canada. I just don't see it. I have to be honest with you.
Okay, but you don't rule it out for Greenland.
And by the way, Canada, they spend less money on military than practically any nation in the world. They pay NATO less than any nation. They think we're subsidized. They think we are going to protect them. And really, we are. But the truth is, they don't carry their full share, and it's unfair to the United States and our
But
taxpayers.
you are not ruling out military force to take Greenland.
I don't rule it out. I don't say I'm going to do it, but I don't rule out anything. No, not there. We need that. We need Greenland very badly. Greenland is a very small amount of people, which we'll take care of and we'll cherish them and all of that. But we need that for international security.
The Trump organization.
So there's a part of this clip that really gets my goat, as I was explaining to you earlier, Nikki. And then there is another part of the clip that I find really interesting. So now in year 75 of the Trump era, 70 million, we've seen this phenomenon come to pass almost on a daily basis, where Trump sits down with a serious person, TM, in legacy media. And that serious person asks Trump something insane and sort of puts an idea into his head. And I was joking with you, Nikki, Kristen Welker asks Trump, do you plan on nuking the moon? And then Trump says, not necessarily, but I don't rule anything out. And then the headline in the New York Times the next day is, Trump considers nuking the moon. Now, that's not exactly what happened. Trump is flexible at all times, and so he's just not definitively saying he doesn't want to nuke the moon. Anyway, the reason why I bring this up is Welker poses a question to Trump saying, are you planning on using military force against Canada? And Trump says, I don't know, probably not. But what's then interesting is Trump volunteers the idea of using military force against Greenland, and that to me is telling, because it wasn't Welker saying, do you want to nuke the moon? Or I suppose what it is it's Welker asking Trump if he intends to nuke the moon. Trump says probably not, but I sure as hell might nuke Jupiter.
Yeah.
That's interesting to me.
He's offering the information himself, which makes it feel a little more dangerous. Though this isn't the first time we've heard this from him.
Yeah. That's
so
true.
I'm not entirely shocked. I mean, I'm disturbed by the entire concept, but he has made similar claims before. I think I wish there was a little more pushback on this idea of occupying foreign territories from a military perspective and forcibly taking over a foreign territory. I do wish that and maybe there was later on from Welker, but I think this is incredibly dangerous, what we're looking at right now.
And we know what this is, right? This is, once again, another manifestation of his obsession with William McKinley.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Expansion, which
yes.
is, yeah.
Tariffs and land expansion, sort of the two signature policies of William McKinley. He is now, it seems to me, he is focused on establishing a legacy. He wants to do something that in 50 years will get his face on Mount Rushmore. And in his mind, the way to do it is to completely rebalance through destruction the global economy to bring back American manufacturing. Or it's to seize Greenland, it's to seize Canada, it's to seize Lord knows what, and drastically increase the geographical size of the United States. I don't think either of those things are going to happen, but he is very clearly intent on trying as hard as he can to make them happen. Or let me walk that. Yeah, go ahead.
This goes back to your point about him being stuck in the past. I mean, these are outdated concepts.
Mm-hmm.
Isolationism from a manufacturing standpoint does not work. I mean, of course, we'd love to see manufacturing in America, but solely relying on that doesn't work in today's global economy. It's just not something that we can do. This idea of these territorial land grabs, that's not really something either that we want to see anymore. We know now that is not something that should be done around the world. He's just stuck in this mindset from a time long ago, from a president that was not even considered a good president.
Not really, no.
Not at all.
Well, going from land grabs to power grabs, Trump also had some thoughts on the Fifth Amendment of the Constitution today, or rather over the weekend, and spoke with Kristen Welker about whether or not, people in this country actually deserve due process. Can we listen to that, Andy?
State says everyone who's here, citizens and non-citizens, deserve due process. Do you agree, Mr. President?
I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know.
Well, the Fifth Amendment says
I don't know. It seems it might say that, but if you're talking about that, then we'd have to have 1 million or 2 million or 3 million trials. We have thousands of people that are some murderers and some drug dealers and some of the worst people on earth. But some of the worst, most dangerous people on earth. And I was elected to get them the hell out of here, and the courts are holding me from doing it.
But even given those numbers that you're talking about, don't you need to uphold the Constitution of the United States as president?
I don't know. I have to respond by saying again, I have brilliant lawyers that work for me, and they are going to obviously follow what the Supreme Court said. What you said is not what I heard the Supreme Court said. They have a different interpretation.
So first of all, that's bullshit. He lost 9-0 at the Supreme Court. And second, it's so rich for this man to muse about due process. I don't know if people in this country deserve it or not. The man is only sitting there because he received due process, because the court system didn't just lock him up and throw away the key. He went through the process, due process, and in some cases was found guilty, in some cases was not, and ultimately escaped punishment. But that only happened because the system worked. Some might argue it didn't, but you know what I mean.
Right. No, I completely understand what you're saying. I think I'm just gobsmacked by the phrase, don't you have to uphold the Constitution of the United States? And his response being, I don't know. I mean, that's his answer for everything. If he doesn't want it's like a difficult topic he doesn't want to talk about. I don't know. I don't know. That's not on me. That's on them. They figure that out. I don't know. I'm just here. It's absurd. And this idea of, I know I've been hearing, like I said, this past weekend, I was spending a lot of time in like rural Pennsylvania, and I do hear from a lot of voters this, well, due process is only for citizens. First of all, no, that is not the case. That is not what the Constitution says. Due process is for all. And I question if due process, if people don't want due process for people. I know he made a claim somewhere in that interview about how that would take millions of trials if we had to do this for even the people who aren't citizens. And I would say, oh, well, then you have to. Yeah. Because the alternative is, if there's no due process, how does one state their case? How does one prove that they maybe aren't a criminal or even are a citizen? Without due process, there's no way to keep him from just taking anyone.
No, that's precisely the point, because if you go on Stephen Miller's Twitter, or if you see him do a CNN clip,
I care about my mental health.
I unfortunately do, because I'm a masochist. But he has this theory, which again is not constitutional, which is if you are an illegal immigrant, if you're an undocumented immigrant in this country, you have already committed a crime, and so therefore the government should have the power to just unilaterally ship you out of the country to wherever they want. Now, what he's glossing over is the fact that until someone actually receives due process and the government proves in court that they are here in an undocumented fashion, then they're not an undocumented immigrant yet, technically speaking, according to the rule of law.
Innocent until proven guilty.
Yes.
And yes, the Constitution does make distinctions on what is for citizens and what is for all people.
Correct.
And it does state due process for all. But he doesn't know if he has to follow that. So.
No. Andy, do we have any clips left from the Welker interview, or can we move on to some of the other chaos from this morning?
We have one more clip about China.
Oh, goody. Let's do it.
Here we go.
You're talking about this transition cost. How long should people expect that transition to last, Mr. President?
I can't tell you that. I can tell you that we're making a lot of money. We're doing great. Again, we're losing more than $5 billion a day. $5 billion a day. You don't talk about that. And right now, we're going to be at a point very soon where we're making money every day. Look,
how soon?
We were losing hundreds of billions of dollars with China. Now we're essentially not doing business with China. Therefore, we're saving hundreds of billions of dollars. Very simple.
You take me to my next question, which is...
So this, oh my goodness, this gets me because it shows you what happens when America elects a reality TV game show host. He has no basic fundamental understanding of how trade deficits work, about how trade works, about how economies function. Just because we are buying $5 billion worth of Chinese goods does not mean that those $5 billion are being burnt up.
No.
We actually get things, right? When you go to your corner store and pay, $7 for a bacon, egg, and cheese, you're not just losing the $7. I mean, I suppose you are if you're
I
if
mean,
you're
by his
5
logic,
years
now you
old,
have a trade
but you get
deficit.
the bacon, egg, and cheese then. That has
Exactly.
value. That is worth, theoretically, the $7 that you pay for it. My goodness.
Yeah, of course. Now, by his logic, there's a trade deficit because that corner store did not, in turn, buy something from you, but
Mhm.
you're still receiving something for that money. It's also can be stated that the United States, we are far more of a service economy. So
Yes.
while we may not be manufacturing and selling products, we do sell services. This is why the whole concept of trade deficits is as a barometer for how much we should be charging other countries in tariffs is absolutely asinine. It makes no sense. But like you said, his knowledge of trade and just how the world economy functions is limited at best. He doesn't know anything. He's as dumb as a rock. Yeah, thank you. I mean, we hear every time someone, how long do you expect this to last? What did he say? I don't know.
I don't know.
His classic answer, I don't
He's
know.
not a lawyer. He's
I'm
not
not
an
a lawyer. I don't know.
economist. Who's to say? Well, Nikki, we also got some fun news from Trump this morning. As if
Oh, joy.
his tariffs aren't roiling the economy enough, he is sending yet another industry into abject chaos with a fun little tweet this morning. Andy, can we throw it up? All right, so for those of you listening, it reads thusly. The movie industry in America is dying a very fast death. Other countries are offering all sorts of incentives to draw our filmmakers and studios away from the United States. Hollywood and many other areas within the USA are being devastated. This is a concerted effort by other nations and therefore a national security threat. It is, in addition to everything else, messaging and propaganda. Therefore, I am authorizing the Department of Commerce and the United States Trade Representative to immediately begin the process of instituting a 100% tariff on any and all movies capitalized, coming into our country that are produced in foreign lands. All caps, we want movies made in America again! ! Nikki, what the hell's going on?
Oh my God. Look, first of all, who the fuck knows? How would this even be implemented? It does not make any sense. So, and where is the line going to be drawn? So if we have a distribution company that's US based, but our shooting location is in Canada, or maybe our actors are not American, where are we drawing the line here? And what exactly is going to be tariffed? The cost of the ticket? How is this going to impact something like a streaming service? Is Netflix not going to be able to bring movies that are international? I don't, and if he thinks this is going to work, the industry is already suffering, the film industry in the United States. And there's partially why a lot of times they shoot elsewhere. The industry is not doing well here. This is only going to hurt it further. The amount of money it costs to make a film in the United States, I don't feel like what they're going to do is be like, I guess we'll just make more here. They're just going to make less. And it's going to throw an industry that's already spiraling into an even worse place. And we're going to see more job loss. It's, wow.
It just fundamentally, to your point, it does not make any sense. I want to underscore a couple of things that Nikki said. So presumably, if a film is produced overseas, so like when Dune 3 comes out, I suppose unless they film in Arizona, they're not going to be able to make that movie because they now are not going to be able to get access to the beautiful beautiful desert vistas that were in Dune 1 and Dune 2 anymore. I guess if the new Game of Thrones spin-off that would presumably be shooting throughout Europe as they did the entire first franchise, that now has to take place, I don't know, in Florida? In Cincinnati? Like, good luck finding Castle Rock in Miami, guys. It's just... Oh yeah, this is a tweet from Matthew Gertz, a funny guy I follow on Twitter. He says, for the next James Bond should have James and Ethan Hunt fight terrorists in America. Oh my goodness. And then yes, if an actress or an actor is a foreigner, does that mean that there's a tariff on the movie? If, for example, it's an animated film, a lot of folks are familiar with the fact that Japanese and South Korean artists in particular are extremely talented at making anime. Can those films not be made anymore? It's utter chaos. I'm seeing reports that all these Hollywood executives are calling one another. No one was given prior notice about this. No one knows, again, what it means, what it could mean, what it will do to the industry, if this is something he'll forget about and drop tomorrow. It's chaos.
I feel like this is just another way to attack the media. That's what this is. They feel like I guess foreign influence on films is going to hurt their image, which, they're doing that themselves. So it's just a way to attack that and maintain control of media and what's going to become propaganda in this country.
Well, Nikki, in addition to going after Hollywood and destroying jobs there, he is announcing some new jobs, some new hiring at another institution. Andy, do we have a tweet for... Oh, no, not that one. Sorry. We can pull that up later. Alcatraz.
Oh, good.
Alcatraz is apparently going to be reopened. Trump wants it to be a working, operating prison once again. This person is joking that Trump might as well have announced a 1,000% tariff on all movies not filmed at Alcatraz, given those are the two hot news items of the day. Nikki, last I checked, Alcatraz has been a museum for quite some time. Do you see any rationale in reopening it as a working, operating prison?
Cruelty? Looking for a way to bring back this a backwards type of punishment. I don't really know.
He's just evil and sick enough to say, okay, we'll bring Kilmar Abrego Garcia back into the country, and we're sending him to Alcatraz.
Exactly.
My God.
I just don't understand the rationale here.
No.
But I do think that a lot of this just is centered around, what can I do that's going to piss people off and that's cruel?
Yeah. I like this. Curry Favor just said, where is it? I lost the comment. But he said... or they said, he's just trying to trigger everybody, pick your battles. Of course, no, Curry Favor is absolutely right. This is a distraction. This is, and in a way it worked. Granted, I think Nikki and I were responsible in waiting until minute 42 to discuss Alcatraz, because obviously the tariffs are a bigger deal. Obviously Trump saying that he's not sure if folks in this country deserve due process is the bigger deal. But sometimes you got to take a bite at the red meat because it's just too good. It's just too good.
On that note, we have to do one more. I have to tell you guys about one more thing from a sponsorship perspective, because we do have another sponsor today. We have the Don Lemon Show is also brought to you by the Freedom from Religion Foundation. And I know Don's talked to you about them a bit in the past. And I mean, their move is to try and we're seeing a lot around the country, this push to make religion a part of U.S. law. And while, of course, we support everyone from all religions, it should not be mandated from a legislative standpoint. Like, have you ever been on a road trip and there's one person who insists on controlling the music and you're just trying to enjoy the ride, but now you're stuck listening to nothing but their favorite band? No discussion, no compromise. It's just their way or the highway. And that's kind of what's happening here with Christian nationalism. Some folks want to take over and force everyone to follow their beliefs, shoving religion into our laws, our schools, and even our personal choices when it comes to a lot of the laws they're trying to push. But this country was built for everyone and not just one group. And that is where the Freedom from Religion Foundation comes in. You can kind of think of them as a GPS for keeping church and state separate, just like the founders actually intended it to be. Religion is such an important part to so many people's lives. It is, but it has to remain a personal choice and should not be part of our government. So whether you've always been secular or left religion behind, or you just feel like, or you do support a lot of religious beliefs, but you don't want someone else dictating that trip for you, FFRF has your back. Join us. You can go to ffrf.us/freedom, or you can text Don to 511-511 and become a member today. So text Don, D-O-N, to 511-511, or go to ffrf.us/freedom, because when it comes to freedom, we all deserve to choose our own route. For membership information, you can text Don to 511-511 today. Text fees may apply. That's it. Thank you guys for listening to us while we keep the lights on here.
Sorry, I'm just looking through a new political report on the Alcatraz move. I'll just read a bit from this. It was just published. So on both Alcatraz and then the Hollywood tariff, Politico writes, quote, taken together, the two policy announcements underscore Trump's desire to use his executive authority to enact sweeping changes not just in Washington, but across the country, reopening a notorious island prison and implementing massive tariffs in an effort to save the American film industry, also nod to the president's flair for the dramatic. Let's see.
He certainly has a flair for the dramatic. He's a reality TV star.
Let's just get, for a bit of context, because I actually don't know too much about Alcatraz. Alcatraz was developed in the 19th century as a military prison before being converted into a federal prison for the most dangerous prisoners in 1934. A number of infamous inmates spent time in Alcatraz, including Al Capone, George Machine Gun Kelly, not the singer, and Whitey Bulger, before it was closed in 1963. It is now a tourist attraction managed by the National Park Service and a designated National Historic Landmark. A spokesperson for California Governor Gavin Newsom dismissed Trump's plans to rehab Alcatraz. Quote, looks like it's distraction day again in Washington, D.C., said Izzy Garden, a spokesperson for Newsom. Yeah. No, I think Curry Favor was right. It's just another gambit to get us away from talking about the economy and the tariffs. Speaking of which, Andy, can we see how the Dow is doing again?
Okay.
Barely down. Just all over the place. Chaos,
and
chaos,
this is their signature move. I think Steve Bannon said it. You just flood the system. You just keep doing more and more and more. And even if it's more stuff that it's going to anger people, it keeps them from being able to focus on any one thing.
Muzzle velocity, I think, is Steve Bannon's term of choice. That and, quote unquote, flood the zone with shit. Yep. Just give us so much to focus on. Give us Trump as the Pope. Give us Trump as a Sith Lord. Give us Trump attacking Hollywood. Give us Trump reopening Alcatraz. And the mind cannot focus on all of it at once. It just all becomes one big blur.
It's hard to become angry about any one thing in particular and focus your energy there when you're angry about so many things. Sometimes it's better to just pick that thing that you're passionate about and fight for it.
Yeah, no, on that point, Senator Alyssa Slotkin of Michigan was on The Daily Show not over the weekend, but maybe on Friday. And she was asked what advice she gives concerned voters, concerned young people about what to do in this moment when everything feels like it's out of control and everything is going bad. And she said precisely what Nikki just talked about, to pick one issue that you really care about and just focus on that. Because if you try and do everything, you're inevitably going to burn yourself out. But if you pick democracy, or if you pick, registering folks in your area, or if you pick what have you, and just dedicate some time to that every single day, you will feel so much better about yourself and just the fact that this country can be fixed.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know, maybe that's a bit too optimistic on the senator's part, but I found it to be somewhat comforting.
No, I find it helpful. You have to focus your energy. I mean, it's hard. It is. It's nonstop. It's every day. This is why, like I said, my treat to myself, my gift to myself for my birthday was to just turn it off for a day, just to not look at it. But I understand that it's overwhelming, and even people that are really used to the fight and are excited for fighting back, it's still really hard. So sometimes you need to pick something that you can focus on, where you can make a difference.
Yes, Marshall McGee, thank you. Please hit the like button. We definitely need that. Also, I've seen another few people ask where Don is. Don is unfortunately dealing with a family emergency, so we stepped in this morning. He is okay, and we'll tell you more when we have it. But yeah, he's dealing with some family things right now, and we are telling him, we're relaying all of your prayers, all of your thoughts, and we'll hopefully have an update for you very soon. So Nikki, to close out the show, what are we going to talk about at 5 p.m.?
Oh God, who knows what fresh hell this day will bring.
Indeed.
I will tell you guys, Lemon Nation, often we plan a show, we get everything ready, and then some batshit crazy thing happens and we have to completely pivot at the last minute. It's happening far more than it should.
Yeah.
Days. So.
Oh, just think if Harris was elected. Think how easy our jobs would be.
Don't do that to me. Can I go to that alternate universe?
My God. As an aside, I tweeted this over the weekend. I know I've now invoked Twitter 17 times this show, but if on Earth 2, President Bernie Sanders was saying that patriotic Americans were going to have only 2 dolls under the Christmas tree instead of 30 for just the good of the country, the Democratic Party would have already forced the cabinet to invoke the 25th Amendment.
Yeah.
He would be gone. To say that, and when Trump says it, we're just like, it's so passé, because he says 30 other equally crazy, if not more deranged things.
We're so used to him saying such deranged shit that like the bar for him has just been sunken down to the floor. So it has to be so bad for us to register like, wow, whoa. Now that one was bad. We're just so used to it. I think I said during his first term, I said to one of my friends, I'm like, I could see a headline that like Trump punches the Pope in the face, and I'd be like, well, that sounds like something he might do. I don't know. Onion articles lost their punch because satire and reality just started to merge into one.
Yeah.
I see Erica saying that we could discuss the military parade, and Trump saying Jasmine Crockett is a low IQ person. He did say that in the...
Oh, Trump said that. I was going to say, you cannot speak ill of Jasmine Crockett.
No. Trump said that in that interview. He mentioned that she's the future of the party, or that someone told him she was. And
yeah. No, I wrote a piece for The Guardian a couple months ago at this point saying, this was on dark woke and all that, and I said that she is one of the very few folks who's actually meeting the moment right now and using the type of rhetoric that Democratic voters are clamoring for. I do think she made a bit of a misstep in calling Greg Abbott Governor Hot Wheels, but not everyone is perfect every single day. You're allowed to slip up now and then.
We all slip up from time to time. Just acknowledge it and move on.
Indeed. Nikki, anything else you want to talk about or cover? Andy, do we have, I think we went through all the elements, right?
Yeah, I think that's it.
Word.
Great job, guys.
Everyone say hi to Andy. He's been running things from behind the scenes by himself.
Hi, everyone.
Engagement was quite good today. I'm surprised. I know you guys love Don, but we appreciate it when you tune in for us as well, because We're all in this together. It's a fun project that we've been doing for just a little over a year now.
Yeah. Then we do understand, though, that, of course, we are not done. So we do appreciate you guys staying here with us and joining us this morning. And, of course, thank you, everyone, for your kind words. We'll pass these on to Don. And everyone's wish the best.
Yeah, we will give you updates as soon as we have them. And yeah, we're hanging in there. Don's hanging in there, and I'm sure he will be back with you guys very soon.
And I see some people mentioning we did cross the 700,000 subscribers.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Yes, love that. So yeah, onwards. Let's get to 800. Let's get to 1 million.
Why not? The sky's the limit. Nikki, do you want to say the line?
I guess I will. I mean, not to take this from Don, but we all know how it works. So everyone, protect your mental health. Get out there and spend some time outside with friends and family, and turn the TV off.
Thanks everyone for watching. Your support means the world to us. So make sure you hit the like button and you subscribe to our channel to make sure that you never ever miss a video. We're live every day, 10 a.m. Eastern time. We drop even more content at 2 p.m. Eastern and 5 p.m. Eastern. And if you want more Don Lemon Show content, we'd love for you to become a member of the Lemon community, where you will receive access to special community posts. You'll get exclusive content and members-only live shows. So head over to our channel page or click the join button on this video. Again, thank you for watching. We appreciate your love and your support.